Alright, so this is my painted Camaro rims, painted high gloss black. I think they came out pretty good. Couple spots where the spray paint ran, but it's kind of hard to see. I'll go over to the back tire here. The car's not really in a good spot because it's up on jacks right now. These are the two wheels that I did already. Unfortunately, I dropped the lug nut wrench and put a little chip right here, so I'm gonna have to touch that up. Let's see how easy it is to touch these up. These were just finished yesterday, so it takes about a week for the paint to fully harden. But I put them on this morning. It took about 5 hours to do two wheels, which is a long haul, and let me show you what I used. So these are the materials that I used. Basically I used simple green first to wash the wheels, and after that I used this grease magnet cleaner degreaser to really get all the grease and whatnot off the wheels. I then used 2 coats of Rust-oleum Automotive primer. Okay, fast drying and wet sandable. I waited about 10 or 15 minutes between coats. First coat kind of light, and then the next coat heavy. Actually, I did 3 coats. The next 2 coats kind of heavy. Very easy to use. I then used 3 coats of Rust-oleum Professional High Performance Gloss Black Enamel. Same thing, 15 minutes to dry. 1 light coat, then 2 heavy coats. And then I used Rust-oleum Crystal Clear Enamel. Again, waited 15 minutes for this to dry, the last coat of this. Maybe a little longer, maybe I waited 25 minutes. Then I did 3 coats of Rust-oleum Crystal Clear Enamel. Same thing, 10 to 15 minutes between coats. Taped off the wheels with some masking tape. And I have to say that afterwards they came out really good. I'm going to go over here because I'm still doing these other 2 wheels. Let me show you what I did. So here's my setup. So basically, as you can see, I taped off the wheel. On the other side of the wheel, I taped off the inside here because you don't want this painted where the wheel mounts onto the car. Otherwise, that'll heat up and you'll never be able to get your tire off. So you want to basically tape over this. First, I did the underside, totally primed them. As you can see, this is the prime side. I haven't painted yet. And then I did the other wheel. Right now, I'm going to put another coat of primer on. See if I can do this for a minute while I'm holding my phone, just to show you how I did it. Okay, very easy. Pick up the primer and kind of go a little distance away. And you got to do it on a sunny day where there's not a lot of wind. All right, and just kind of hit it all. I think I'm about 8 to 10 inches away. I found you're less likely to run if you go a little bit of a distance. All right, and just kind of hit every spot. And for the center, I kind of do a couple hits like this. Sorry, I'm not holding that right angle. Okay. Tape off where the inflator goes. I spray right over the weights, as you can see. Okay, and just give it a good light coating. This is actually coating number 3, so this should be it. We'll move on to this wheel. Now, as you can see, these wheels are pretty chewed up. I don't know if you can see from this photo. I probably could have Bondoed them and gotten these scratches out, but you know what? I think after I'm done priming and the paint's on and then the glossifier, you really can't notice too much. And already this has taken a long time. Your 2 wheels took me about 5 hours yesterday between taking them off, cleaning them thoroughly, prepping them with the tape. It's really a slow process. Waiting between coats 10 to 15 minutes. We're talking about 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint, 3 coats of the gloss, 15 minutes between coats. So it's basically an all-day project to do this. I'm trying to do it right. Even with the runs, at least with black, you really can't tell too much where the paint ran. Where it ran, I really put a little more glosser on it. And the glosser, believe it or not, it can drip, and it kind of just drips right off the tire. So you can't notice it too much. And all in all, I'm pretty impressed with the results. of how this went. I can get rims powder coated by me for 500 bucks. This, all the supplies, cost 100 bucks. One other thing that I got that I forgot to mention is I got Scotch-Brite pads, and you've got to scrub the wheels down because you got to put some scratching on them. Believe it or not, the green Scotch-Brite pads do scratch up the wheels, but then I went over with a very fine sandpaper and really kind of scratched them up so that the paint would adhere. So, you know, one thing is if you're going to do this, realize that you're kind of stuck with paint on your wheels from then on in because they kind of all scratched up to get all this primer and stuff to stick. So I basically keep spraying back and forth until I emptied out my cans. So like I said, I used 4 cans of primer altogether. I used 5 cans of the black gloss paint, and then I used 4 cans of the crystal clear enamel to try to really put everything on multiple coats, so hopefully this stuff lasts. These are the Scotch-Brite pads that I was talking about that will actually do a good job at scratching up, besides cleaning, scratching up your rim so that the paint will stick. One more thing you have to do is after you put these on, you need to polish them with a very, very soft cloth, because what happens is the gloss enamel kind of has this powdery feel to it. It's not smooth, and the outer coat kind of wipes off. So you definitely want to take one of these and you just kind of buff them down until you feel smooth. You got to use a good quality microfiber towel, because otherwise, another towel that I used, pieces of it were kind of coming off, getting stuck to the little pieces of clear coat. All right, so this is a little better quality towel, and you want to buff them up. Pop out the center cap obviously before you paint. I think it looks really good with the chrome center cap and the aluminum lug nuts. Makes the wheels really, I think, pop and stand out. And I'm going to pull back a minute. I actually got these also, kind of cool little tire nuts. Let me pull back so you can kind of see how it looks. It's a little hard the way I got to position the car in the backyard, but I think all in all, they really came out good. They have a nice shine to them. Definitely cheaper than buying new rims at 1,200 bucks. And we'll see how long they last. I didn't use regular wheel paint because my understanding was that the Rust-oleum Professional actually is extremely durable and lasts longer than using wheel paint. I also heard the Duplicolor paint was not that good. Rust-oleum was a better way to go, so we'll try to find out. Obviously let them dry overnight before you mount them on your car, and you've got to take it easy driving because it takes about 7 days for the paint to fully harden. So right now, if I jumped on the highway with these things and rocks hit it, it might chip. So the car's going to sit back here for a few days until the stuff hardens up. Anyway, I hope that gave you some info, and when I spray, I'll continue the video. We're back. So now I'm ready to do my first coat of paint. Again, I'm using Rust-oleum Professional High Performance Enamel, 15-minute fast dry. Sprays at any angle, even upside down, although it doesn't spray as good upside down. Pretty good nozzle on it. You got to shake the hell out of it. It has more paint than a regular can paint, so it's pretty good. I think it was about $7 at Home Depot. Altogether, again, I spent $100, and that's for 4 cans of primer, 4 cans of clear coat, 5 cans of this, and the degreaser, and the pads to scrub the wheels. So it's going to cost about $100, and you're basically going to spend probably the whole weekend or most of it doing this. So anyway, we got the tires primed. As you can see, this is taped right here. That's because you don't want this getting paint on it, and then when you mount the wheel up to the car, because the paint really takes about a week to fully set, basically your tire will be stuck on your car. So tape this off right here. Can't see it anyway. I did not tape the edges here because you know, it's on the inside of the car. You really can't notice too much. Obviously the other side it's painted, but yes, you do need to paint the inside of the wheel, because otherwise, you know, you can see some of this So I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to start painting just for a minute because I got to make sure I do a nice job, but just so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Basically, you start off very light coat of paint. Okay, you can just sort of want to touch everything, get a little on there. All right, around the center, walking around, hitting it with a light coat. Okay, very fast action. Yeah, I'm no expert painter here, but it's actually pretty easy to do. It comes out pretty nice when it's all said and done. What you want to do is kind of budget yourself, so you know you're basically spending a can on the insides and a can on the outsides. That's the way that I tried to budget it out. So you're going to blow one can on the inside of two wheels, one can on the face of the two wheels, and then do the second set, same thing. You should go through 4 cans. I bought a 5th because I had screwed up a spot and I wiped it away, and I had to basically use more paint to kind of touch up that spot. But as long as you budget yourself, obviously you don't need as much paint on the inside of the wheels because nobody can really, it's not that noticeable. So that's why I'm using 1 can for inside of 2 wheels and then 1 can just for the face. So I can put a lot of coats on that face, really make it nice. Okay, we're gonna do this one. Again, this is the lightest coat. Just kind of going around, making sure I hit it all. Okay, walking in circles. You want to do this on a sunny day that doesn't have a lot of wind. I do have a problem with some gnats and shit landing on the paint and sticking to it. Had to pick a couple off. A couple just got sprayed over. You know, there's only so much you can do. Some stuff falling out of the trees. Today it's a little calmer wind than it was yesterday. So I learned from my mistakes. I think this set's going to come out even better than the other two. Alright, so there's our first set. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to let this dry for about another 10 minutes. I'm going to use up the rest of the can on the inside. Let it dry for another about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to flip it over. You see I got some bricks for the tires to rest on. Again, it doesn't really matter. Nothing really here is touching when I flip these over. Maybe some of this edge, but I prop it up on some bricks because otherwise it sticks to the table. And then we'll do the face. We'll do the face multiple times. Then when everything is dry, we basically hit 1 can of clear coat. We'll do the inside. Okay, 1 can to do it all. And then we'll do at least 1 can to do the outsides. Multiple coats. So we'll be back when it's time for the second coat of this. Okay, so I just finished my my final coat on the inside here. And if you can see, it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but I basically have 1 can of paint left and I want to focus on the face. So basically all anybody's going to really see is kind of from this ridge down. You're not really going to see this, although it's covered pretty well. It's not critical. It's just more critical to make sure you get this lower section and these, the backs of all these. So that's one. Here's the other. Again, it came out pretty good. A couple gnats stuck in the paint. Nothing I can do about that unless you're going to do this indoors, which I don't really recommend. We can't really see it. So now I'm going to flip these over and we're going to start the fronts. Okay, so now that they're flipped over, and you can see it was important to get all in here because you're going to see that the primer is totally dry. This is actually sandable. It's wet sandable, this primer. It's not self-etching, which is why you got to use a Scotch-Brite pad or sandpaper anyway, very fine sandpaper. But it's actually Automotive. It's Automotive primer by Rust-oleum, so that's why I picked it out. So I'm going to start the face here. I'm going to do 1 light coat. I'm just going to hold the camera while I do a little here because I got to make sure that this comes out good. I can't really do it with 1 hand, so I'm just going to show you how we're going to start. Okay, kind of high up, and we're going to hit it all very lightly. Okay, just to get a light coat on it, and then we're going to go heavier on the next 2. All right, with that, I'm going to pause this, and we'll come back when these have a coat on them. Okay, so I just finished with the first coat. Take a look, you'll see it's the first coat. It's not perfect. There are a couple spots that are darker than others. Look at this one. All right, we don't want it to drip or run, so That's it. So now right here, I'm going to zoom in. I got a little bit of a drip coming down the edge. I don't know if you can see it with that angle. I don't want to touch it, but it's right there. But you know what? Once the clear coat and stuff goes on, it's really kind of hard to see any drips. Clear coat kind of hides it. So with that, we'll come back after the second coat. Okay, so I just finished the second coat. I'm sorry, the third coat. So this is basically the final coat. Came out pretty good. I don't know if you can see from the light. Pretty even. A couple spots where there's runs. Put a little too much over there. Again, on the black, especially after we put the clear coat spray on it, really not that noticeable. You'd have to be right on top of the wheel to see it. And what I like is that this actually does not come out jet black. It comes out more of a, I want to say a gunmetal black, even though it is a gloss black, which I kind of like because I'm not really looking for that murdered out look. And so there's a little bit of, I want to say, a very, very dark gray to black look to it, which kind of like with the chrome center caps and the chrome lug nuts, it really makes the wheel stand out. Now for this edge, all right, my fear was that this edge would not get paint in it because of the tape. So what I did was I basically sprayed really heavy when I ran around the lip. And what happens is the paint seems to just kind of seep in to the groove. So when I took all the tape off, there literally was not one spot of the old color wheel showing. So that's what I recommend, is just put a heavy coat around the rim, and this way it'll kind of soak in there. When you take the tape off, it'll look perfect. Anyway, so now we're going to let this dry for, I would say, at least 20 minutes, and then we're going to start putting the clear coat on, which is kind of like the protectant that'll stop it from getting scratched. So we'll come back when it's time to do that. Okay, so we're back. I just clear coated the inside. Now, I don't know if you can see here, it's drippy and stuff. It doesn't really matter because it's the inside of the wheel. It's really more important to get these sections covered and this inner rim. The clear coat is really just a protectant, so nobody really sees any of this. So it is going to run and stuff. You can see some drips and stuff there. It really doesn't matter. What's more important is the other side of the wheel. Again, there's some more runs, but you can't see it anyway once the wheel is mounted. Now the clear coat is much runnier than the regular paint. I'm going to spin around here. So you got to work a little farther back. All right, when you're doing the clear coat, well, this is kind of where the magic happens. This is what really makes the wheel look like it's professionally done. All right, we want to very evenly move quickly. Okay, you're supposed to be constantly moving. If you stop at any point, it's going to kind of leave a mark. Again, this clear coat I'm using Rust-oleum crystal clear enamel, protective glossy finish. So basically, from a distance, I want to just kind of hit the face first, because that's the most important part. Okay, we'll go around the edges. Okay, we got to get the sides. You got to keep moving with this stuff a lot faster than when you're with regular paint, or it's going to puddle. Okay, spin around the inside. All right, we're really moving here. We're in the inner rim, and I think that's going to be it for this coat. All right, I'm going to do the same to this wheel. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to do another coat, let it dry, probably do another coat, and I'll come back. This is the second coat of clear coat. Now I lay the tire down, because if you lay the tire down and you overspray, the overspray just drips down away from the tire, and if it's too thick, it just dries clear, so you can't see any runs. So if you look now, we're pretty evenly coated with the second set of the crystal clear gloss enamel, and we're going to do one more coat after this dries. And sometimes you'll see a powdery residue. That's just because the clear coat dried spotty, but after this is all done, you're going to buff this out with a microfiber towel, and it's going to actually be a super smooth perfect shine. So anywhere that you see where it looks like it's a little grainy from the spray, you don't really have to worry about it, because like I said, you're going to buff that right out. It's going to come right off, and it's going to be crystal clear and smooth. So we'll come back after the third coat. All right, so basically I did the final coat of clear coat, pulled off all the tape, and as you can see on the edges, the paint was able to penetrate the edges, so I don't have any aluminum showing up on the edges. It's all black. Interesting that this set did not come out as good as my first set. There's some bubbling, if you can see here. I'm not sure what that is, why that happened, but I think even after they dry fully and I polish them up, I think they're still going to look really good. And unless you're kind of up close, they're still going to look a lot better than they did, because these were really chewed up rims. The guy, my Camaro is 2 years old, and I guess the guy that I bought it from just didn't know how the hell to park, and he really just chewed the shit out of the edges of the rims on the passenger side. These are passenger side wheels, but it definitely is not as noticeable anymore now that they're black as did when they were chrome, because this stuff is all black. Again, you could use Bondo or some filler and fill this in and sand it, maybe even use a fully sandable primer. But honestly, man, I just did not, already this took me the whole weekend to do these. Probably would have been easier if I did all four at one time, but I only have 2 jack stands. So I can only do 2 wheels, jack the car up and do 2 wheels, and then do the other 2 wheels the next day. So I'll show you them when they're fully dry and they're polished up, how they look on the car. But I think they're actually going to still look damn better than they did before, and hopefully they last. The date today is June 21st, I think, 2014. So I'll do a follow-up in a few weeks as to how they're lasting. Curious if I do scrape the curb, how bad it's going to be to touch these back up with some more paint and some more clear coat. Hopefully I don't do that, and we'll see how long these babies last versus spending $1,200 on new rims or $500 to powder coat. But I think once these are polished and on, and I do some tire shine, I think they're going to look awesome on the car, because the other 2 do look good. All right, so we'll follow up when I get these babies on the car. Okay, we're back. So here we go. I put the center caps in. Now, we got to polish these things. Now, what I want you to see, I don't know if you can tell, is there's a powdery white, and that's what you want to get off. And initially, when you use your microfiber towel, the fibers may stick. I don't know if the camera's picking this up. All right, but you want to keep buffing until any fibers that are coming off from the towel don't. You're going to feel it's going to be very, very smooth. All right, and then you know you're ready. But the clear coat's got to be buffed with a microfiber towel to really make these things look like they came painted. All right, so we want to get in there. Again, if my camera is shaking, I'm sorry, it's my phone. It's tough to do with one hand. You want to keep buffing. All right, and make sure you use a good microfiber towel. If you use a cheap one, all these fibers will just start coming off, instead of it pulling away that light coating. You can see here, there's you can see the fibers. It's slowly pulling them off the towel, and this is actually expensive Blue Eagle edgeless microfiber towel. But after a couple buffs, like you see there, all the fibers are gone. All right. Other thing very important, like I said before, I'm going to pick this up for a minute, is you want to make sure that the back of the wheel that you taped and did not paint that. If you painted that, you're going to have a problem putting the wheel on. If you ever try to get it off, it's going to basically be glued onto your axle from the paint. So make sure that you're very careful when you tape that off. All right, so I'm going to finish buffing these, and I'll come back when I put them on the car. Before I put these things on, I want to show you guys something. If anybody's thinking of getting these MGP caliper covers, I know they're kind of expensive. I think these were they were about $200 for the Camaro ones. Let me tell you, these things are absolutely awesome. They're metal, okay? These say, the back say RS. I'm gonna move over to the front. The front say Camaro. Okay, they go on real easy. You can put them on in about 15-20 minutes. Gotta take the wheels off. They're rock solid. nice and shiny. Compared to buying Brembos, which are too expensive, or painting your caliper covers, the V6 Camaro has some ugly calipers. So even painting them, I considered that. I just think it still would not look good. If you're thinking about getting these things and they come all different colors and all different styles, I think they're awesome. Yeah, they're expensive, 200 bucks, but they're metal, they're built rock solid, okay? And they look fantastic when the wheels are on. So I'm gonna put the wheels on in a minute and you'll see how they look. We got one more with the tires shined up using gel. It's really good. Yeah, I mean, for 100 bucks, I think you can't beat it. So just be prepared to spend a lot of hours getting this done. But it's definitely worth $100, and hopefully they last.